Caitlin Clark just did what no one saw coming, and she did it live, via Zoom, in a no-holds-barred interview with WNBA legends Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi. From the second she appeared on screen, it was clear. This wasn't going to be your typical feel-good segment. It was raw. It was real. And it pulled back the curtain on everything, from her transition to the WNBA, to locker room rumors, to what really went down in those gritty college matchups, all with Caitlin's signature humor and charm. But what exactly did she reveal? And why is everyone in the basketball world buzzing about it right now? Stick around, because Caitlin didn't hold back about a lot of things, about Paige Bueckers, about Diana Taurasi, and even about the baseless lies Cheryl Swoops has been spreading about the team. Are you ready? Let's go. It was the callback heard round the internet. 1 year ago, Diana Taurasi looked into the camera and sent a now infamous warning to Caitlin Clark. Reality is coming. Fast forward to this year, and needless to say, Diana ate her words. Clark's response, a smirk, a subtle nod, and a confident smile. The energy was electric. It was witty, playful. But make no mistake, for Diana Taurasi, sharing the court with Caitlin Clark was more than just another matchup. It was a generational moment. Reflecting on their first game in Phoenix, Taurasi didn't hold back on the atmosphere. It felt like the last game ever going to be played. The crowd was electric, the hype was real, and it wasn't just about basketball, it was about witnessing a torch being passed in real time. Diana spoke with admiration, highlighting how surreal it was to finally face the player she'd been watching dominate college hoops for years. It was amazing. I've been following Caitlin for so long, and been watching her college career just an eye, and to be on the court, and, the first game was in Phoenix, and it felt like the last game that was ever going to be played. There was such anticipation. The crowd was going crazy. All the people that came out to see Caitlin and our teams play against each other. It really was an amazing moment. And you talked about how, if you could play against anyone that is this new generation. So I got to cross paths with Caitlin at least for a couple games. And to me, that bet a lot, Like, we've been doing this for a long time, and to see Caitlin do what she does is, I think someone said the other day, I'm like, I want the season to start so I can watch you again. Caitlin's take, just as classy, but with that signature edge. She remembered that Phoenix matchup too. Only this time, it was personal. We were down like 10 or 15 and came all the way back and won, she recalled, the pride obvious in her voice. That comeback wasn't just a stat on the board. It was a defining moment for her and her team. Facing a legend like Taurasi and coming out on top, that's the stuff that builds confidence, and Caitlin made sure to note it. But beneath the competitive fire, there was mutual respect. The moment became bigger than just a single game. It was a clash of eras, captured in real time. Caitlin and Diana may be on different ends of their careers, but the impact they're both making, that's timeless. And as they joked and smiled through the memory, one thing was clear. This was more than banter. It was basketball's past and future, sitting in perfect harmony. Caitlin, how excited are you for this next WNBA season? New head coach is Stephanie White. You added Natasha Howard, who Sue knows really well, DeWanna Bonner, which I know really well, Sophie Cunningham. I mean, it seems like, from the outside, this roster's ready to compete now, which is easy for us to say. We know there's a process to get there, but when you see that, you see those names come in, what does that make you feel like? Caitlin Clark is heading into the new WNBA season with more than just momentum. She's stepping in with firepower. Speaking about her revamped roster, she couldn't hide her excitement. New head coach Stephanie White. Veterans like Natasha Howard and DeWanna Bonner. Shotmakers like Sophie Cunningham and defensive dynamos like Sydney Colson and Brianna Turner. Clark knows the names, and more importantly, she knows what they bring. But she also knows the challenge ahead. But then came the truth. She admitted she spent a ton of time in the weight room, not just to look the part, but to feel more dominant on the court. She even pinpointed areas of growth, adding a floater, finishing through contact, and owning the mid-range. It's clear. She's not just training to maintain. She's training to take over. You're trying to get stronger, like a lot of time in the weight room, and it's like something like I kind of enjoy, so it's been pretty easy for me to spend time in there and really work on that part of my game. And I think the biggest thing on on the court, it's just like that mid-range area. Like, I got pretty uncomfortable in there when I would get in there, whether that's like, I didn't really have any floater. I didn't like taking a mid-range jump shot. So just getting more comfortable, like when I get my feet kind of into the paint, and honestly trying to just add a floater to my game and, finishing through contact and little things like that. But, I think I was just going back to the weapons that we've added this year. Like, there's going to be so many different things that we're able to do that I think it'll be able to make my life a little bit easier, and should make everybody's life a little bit easier on our team. That level of self-awareness is rare, especially for someone who's still so early in their pro career. But Caitlin's already acting like a vet. I kind of enjoy it, she said of the grind, referring to both the physical prep and the leadership challenges that come with a star-packed roster. She knows expectations are high, but she's meeting them head-on. Remember that time when Cheryl Swoops was saying that the indianafever locker room is toxic? She confirmed what we all knew all along. What Swoops said was simply not true. I think it's something you kinda just become used to. It's like people think they know what's going on inside of your locker room, and they just don't. At the end of the day, it's just, the girls that you have in there, then obviously your coaching staff, and that's all that matters. And honestly, like, the best thing about last year is, like, we honestly had so much fun together. Yeah, we lost our first 8 games or whatever, but, like, we wouldn't have won if you didn't have a tight-knit circle or a good locker room. And that's the reason we kind of turned everything around, is just we, like, needed some time. We were a young brew, and, we figured it out. But, yeah, it was really fun, honestly. Caitlin Clark knows what it's like to go to war with UConn, and she remembers every moment. We played them 3 times, she recalled, citing matchups from the Phil Knight tournament to the Sweet 16, and finally, in the Final 4. Each time was a test, and each time Gino Auriemma's team came prepared. They always had the best scouts against me, she said. You could tell how smart he is. Well, I think they just are so disciplined. Like, we're gonna do what they do, they're gonna do it really well. And also I think, like, for myself, facing his teams, like, they always had some of the best scouts against me. Like, you can tell how smart he is. Yeah, he understands the game. He's coached against so many really good players, and, there were games I would go into, and, like, the scouts were just like, it was just like, come on, like, why are you going under ball screens? Why are you in drop coverage? But, like, he just made it difficult. Like, that wasn't just flattery. It was frustration mixed with respect. Whether it was different defensive looks or elite defenders hounding her full court, Caitlin made it clear, UConn never made it easy. He always had something in his back pocket, she said about Gino, and that made every game a chess match. If you throw different defenders at me, and obviously having Mika Mule last year, like, she's probably one of the better defenders that I've faced. Like, I'll be in your grill, she'll pick you up 90 C, like, but then he just always has an answer, has different people, and I think that's one of the best things about him. Like, he has one game plan, but then he has something in his back pocket that he'd be able to do. Yeah. And that's going to bother you again. But it's not just the program Caitlin respects, it's the players too. When asked about Paige Beckers, her tone shifted into admiration mode. Her poise, Caitlin said immediately, that's something you need coming into the W. She praised Paige's calm, mature presence on the court, how nothing ever seems to shake her. She can score at all 3 levels, Caitlin added, calling Paige's mid-range game some of the best she's ever seen. That's high praise from someone who's dominated at every level. But Caitlin didn't stop there. She noted Paige's versatility too. She can play point guard or off the ball. That'll be interesting next to Arike. A conversation's getting good when it turns to technical fouls. And with Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, and Caitlin Clark all in the mix, it didn't disappoint. The segment turned into a comedic therapy session, with everyone owning up to their less-than-peaceful moments on the court. Diana proudly wore her rep, sharing how she once got tossed after picking up a tech in both the first and third quarters. Sue, on the other hand, claimed her near-perfect record, earning eye rolls and teasing from both sides. That's when the spotlight hit Caitlin. I got 6, she admitted, referring to the WNBA's 7-tech limit. Then, deadpan delivery. But even in all the laughs, there was a serious edge beneath it. Caitlin knows the optics, the expectations, the leadership role she's stepping into. That's why she ended with a subtle promise to her coach Stephanie White to keep the fire but not cross the line. Still, when asked to set an over-under for her techs this season, she said she promised only 2, and both Diana and Sue confidently took the over. As the interview wound down, the laughs kept rolling. Diana teased Caitlin about the infamous WNBA All-Stars setup game. calling it a trap for the newbies, while Caitlin, cup in hand, just smiled and said, "I had a great time." It was a full circle moment. Legends and the league's newest star, bonding over shared stories, wild games, and the chaos that makes the WNBA unforgettable. And as Sue and Diana wished her luck for the season, you could feel it. Caitlin Clark isn't just part of the conversation anymore. She is the conversation. Caitlin Clark didn't just join the conversation. She owned it. In a room, well, a Zoom, with two of the greatest to ever do it, she proved that she's not just hype. She's sharp, she's grounded, and she's got the kind of edge that makes legends nod in approval. From playful jabs to raw honesty, she showed exactly why the future of women's basketball is in very good hands. And if this interview is any sign of what's coming next, on the court and off, we're all in for something special. Let us know in the comments how excited you are, because training camp will happen in a few weeks and preseason in less than a month.